Parents of Reddit with older kids who appear to be forever alone, does it disappoint you to know that they struggle to form relationships? My son is 27 and has had no girlfriend yet. I know he is sad about this and feels a sense of failure because he feels this way. I wish there was something I could do to help him feel better. But I want to say to you that I do not in any way feel disappointment in my son. And I would doubt that your parents do either. There is such cultural pressure to pair off, so I'm not surprised you feel ashamed. But please consider that being in a damaging relationship is worse than being alone. And one more piece of advice, if I may. Practice and improve your friendship skills while you await your soul's arrival in your life. That way you will be more prepared to nurture that relationship when you get into it. Wishing you the best. Just being alone does not mean they are struggling to form relationships. I'm more worried about my 22-year-old son's serial girlfriend thing. And he always picks really hot ones with big boobs who are batshit crazy. I worry about my 25-year-old daughter's inability to be by herself. She has to be in a relationship or she fixates on getting a guy. Thanks for reminding me what I'm in for this Christmas. Still no boyfriend. T. Hemingway. Haha, not right now. Focusing on my studies. And also I'm a lesbian. Now stop trying to hook me up with your gay nephew. I was never good at dating, so when I got in a relationship early I just stayed with it even though it was a sucky one. I got a divorce a few years ago when I should never have gotten married in the first place. Now that I'm older and divorced, I just don't know how to get into another relationship. Not a parent, but my big sister worries me with her avoidance of relationships. If she were like you, with a life plan and friends and an interest in dating, that would be just fine. If she were just very introverted and asexual, I'd be fine with that too. But instead, she seems hindered by social anxiety, seriously unhealthy thinking about relationships, and a crippling fear of growing up. She's 32 now, and hasn't dated anyone for over 10 years. She's told me that she doesn't want to date anyone that wants oral sex, and never wants to live together with anyone. She needs her space. She's also told me some of her perspectives on dating that just confuse me. The latest one was that she doesn't want to date a guy that gets along with their mother. I guess the important point is that it's not about being single. It's just a concern when their relationship status is symptomatic of a bigger emotional problem. And even then, I'm not disappointed. I'm just worried for her future and scared that she will be unhappy and lonely. I'm sure no one will read this, but it seems as if a lot of people are saying confidence is the key to meeting a so. I agree 100%. However, you can't just wake up in the morning and all of a sudden decide today is the day you're going to be confident. The key to confidence is feeling good about yourself, and clearly OP feels like a failure. You're not BTW. There are numerous ways you can go about changing yourself and feeling better. I'll give you an example that worked for making new friends and boosting my confidence. My wife and I moved to her hometown where I knew no one. I wasn't making any friends at work, and as a 30-year-old male it's hard to go out and make new friends. I was getting depressed and needed to make a change. I've always been into cycling, so I went out and joined a local cycling club. Way out of my normal comfort zone. We go on group rides and races on weekends, and I'm surrounding myself with people who share a common interest, so we always have at least one thing we can talk about. I have now made plenty of friends and I'm so much happier than when we first moved here. My endurance and speed has improved. I'm racing and I have a totally new outlook on myself. I'm not saying go get a bike and join a cycling club, but if you have an interest in something, whatever it may be, I guarantee others in your community share a similar interest. There may even be an existing group you can join. It's a fantastic way to meet new people, make new friends and slowly build up your confidence. You're 23, you have so much time, but the first thing you need to do to improve your social life is to stop browning yourself as a failure and get out there. It's frustrating because so many of my hobbies are so introverted. Maybe I should try cycling or something like that, though. I want the people in this thread to hang in there and never give up hope. I never even kissed a boy until college, didn't go on a date until I was 24, and didn't get my first boyfriend until 25. You know what? BF was 24 and had never had a GF either. We just found each other. It was definitely a learning relationship. and I'm proud to say I've made it work for 2 years through thick and thin. You should never give up hope on yourself, and let me say I know all the feels in this thread. Hang in there, peeps. Reading stuff like this does manage to give me some hope. I am glad you've found someone for you. Wait, so you're 23, fit, healthy, seem like a nice person who cares about what your parents think and are a college graduate? Sounds like they have a heck of a lot to be proud of. Why would you fixate on this one thing? Is it because you're fixated on this and you're projecting your disappointment outwards? Dating and relationships are important, but they are not the be all and end all of life. And funnily enough, they are one of those things that seem to come when you least expect them to. Meeting someone and forming a relationship with them is much more likely to happen if you're happy and confident in other parts of your life. Instead of concentrating on how you're not in a relationship, focus on the areas of your life you feel are lacking. How often do you get out? Are you mixing with other people your age? Is your career fulfilling? Are you moving forward in it? If you start filling in those gaps, you start opening yourself to opportunities to meet people. If you really want to talk to your parents about it but aren't sure how, why not enlist their support in changing that aspect of your life? You don't need to go into your deep-seated embarrassment of not having had a date, but instead you could say something like, hey, I feel like I'm in a place where it would be nice if I met someone. What do you think? If you are confident in your ability to go on a date, why not try internet dating? Or those group single activities where you all go bowling and mingle with a lot of single people? Don't go with high expectations. Just say to yourself, I am going to have one conversation with a girl of more than 4 sentences and work your way up from there. If you're honest with the people you meet about your nerves' lack of experience, you will get a true idea of the suitability of the people you are meeting. Yes, you might get some rejections, but nothing worth having comes without risk. Don't fear this. It just means you're a step closer to finding someone who makes you honestly happy for all the right reasons. I think being fixated on one thing is never going to be good or healthy, nor help you in your ability to move forward to it. It doesn't sound like they're putting any pressure on you to have a girlfriend, more that you are just very concerned that they are. If you start talking to them, they may just be thinking he's really young, and you are young at 23. There's plenty of time, which there is. Give yourself a break. One aspect of your life not going the way you wanted to does not make you a sad loser. I severely doubt your parents are remotely disappointed in you. They may be worried at how concerned you are, but you can dissipate that by putting yourself out there a little more, no matter how scary. I am not a parent, but the younger sister of 2 girls that have never dated nor been asked out in their lives. My oldest sister is 26. She is nice, but I think just seems disinterested in dating people. She also just likes to learn and read books really. My second oldest sister is 24. The only real reason she doesn't date is because she is extremely antisocial, because as a kid she had a lot of health problems that got her made fun of at school. Now, she gets stressed out if someone so much rubs their nose while she is around. She's really pretty too. My friends refer to her as the hot sister. My parents for the most part are understanding of the fact that they might not get married. My dad though seems to hope though. He always jokes and talks about making a son-in-law contact list. TLDR. My sisters have never dated in their life for various reasons, and my parents are okay with that. While I am not a parent, I could very well be. I'm 41 years old, and a male, and have never had a relationship. Not sure why really, but most times I find it difficult to talk to women and was, and still am, though improving. Very reserved and keep to myself. I know my parents, still together after 48 or so years, want me to find a girlfriend, and they have even tried some tricks to get me to have a girlfriend, but always kept withdrawing myself. One of the big obstacles initially, at least for me, was a severe drinking problem had for 13 years, which went into overdrive when joined the military, and finally stopped about 6 or 7 years ago. My parents are still very proud of me and how I turned out, not one of those skeevy people at all. Have a great well-paying job I really like, and they really do pray that I will find the right one. They are supportive and have stopped asking. Women have smiled at me and hinted, but I always withdraw and go the other way. I remember once a brilliant and artistic lady I took a geeky class with at NYC Resistor some time ago. I blabbered like an idiot when she asked me next time she could see me. Lived in Connecticut at the time. Oh well. Life goes on. Anyways, for the OP, just keep going out to places and randomly start talking with people, like in a checkout line. Guys, couples, motherly types first, then slowly ease into women. Try doing daily affirmations to whatever makes you feel good. Even though your parents do not mention it, they really do support you and only want the best when the time is right. While I don't currently have a success story yet, it seems to help me to talk, though at times withdraw still. As a parent of two, 27 and 24, I'm not at all disappointed. In this economy, they are both in situations where they have difficulty taking care of themselves, let alone others. They both have strong circles of friends in their lives that offer them support and love. The few times they have been in relationships, I stayed out of them. When they ended, I was sad for their pain, but not for their relationship status. What would disappoint me is if they maintained a relationship with someone who didn't treat them well, just for the sake of not being alone. Please don't get in a relationship you know isn't a good one because you feel you have to have one. As a parent, I'd be more comfortable with my son being happily single than miserably married. Enjoy life and your career. Find hobbies you enjoy and you'll meet someone. To clarify, you need hobbies that get you out of the house. Putting gigs or puzzles together or needlepoint won't help. I wish I could just find happiness with being alone. I don't mind it so much, it's more a feeling of inadequacy. After being alone this long, I just feel like maybe I'm not good enough for anyone. That's basically what this has become for me. I'm not a parent, but I have this worry about my little brother. He's still a kid, but he really struggles making friends. He's pretty awkward, and since he's autistic has a hard time socializing and controlling his moods, mostly his temper. The temper really concerns me for his future relationships. I don't think he'd ever hit a girl, but I could see him throwing and breaking things. I'm not sure where on the spectrum your brother lies, but my boyfriend had similar behaviors as a child and is now much better about his temper. He's on the Asperger's end of the spectrum, but my point is that growing up can definitely help teach people how to express their emotions in a less outburst way. I'm 20 and have never had a girlfriend, which isn't terribly old but is old enough to be noticeable. My parents continuously reference the fact that they think I have a girlfriend I'm not telling them about. To be fair, I probably wouldn't tell them for a while, but I do not, in fact, have a secret girlfriend. It's really annoying to have your parents remind you constantly that you're still single. Parents, if your kids don't tell you things going on in your life, they might not be hiding things from you, just not have things to tell you about. I know this will get buried at this point, but guys, I get so sad when I see you call yourselves for very alone. You have your whole life to find someone. My husband was 30 on our first date and it was his first date ever. He's an awesome guy too, extremely handsome. I asked him out, glad I did. We're definitely perfect for each other. You'll probably find someone. If you don't, that's okay too, really, but just don't give up on yourself so soon. 23 isn't forever alone. What do you want out of life, kid? I'm not being sarcastic. It's an honest question. The first step in getting what you want is to figure out what that is in the first place. Son is 22, appears not to care about the social world, rarely goes out to anything other than movies. He is an introvert and enjoys his solitude. No girlfriend, no problem. Plays video games, surfs the web and seems happy. I am glad he is not on crack, alcohol or worse, bingo. Changes are coming and mental stability during extended isolation could be a survival skill. Our children live in the houses of tomorrow, a place we can never visit, even in our dreams. Khalil Gibran, a Lebanese writer. I had to read some of your post history to make sure my parents hadn't found Reddit. If it makes you feel any better, I became an FA because all I got was the crazy ones. I'm in my 30s now, haven't really dated in a few years, and my mother always asks when I'm going to find someone who doesn't put me in emergency yes. I think she's bummed I have a pheromone that attracts the stabbers, punchers, stalkers, and pyromaniacs. I've been stabbed by 2 different women, 9 stitches in total, nearly run over by another, hit in the head with a coffee cup, concussion, another one refused to use an Oxford comma, and one lobbed a failed Molotov onto my lawn along with being stalked and having false charges pressed against me, which we dropped, by others, plural. 23 is young, man. Focus on a career, get social, and I'm sure you'll find someone down the road. Be the best person you can be and I'm sure your folks will be proud. Hope you see this. Oh man, stabbings, concussions and pyromania is one thing, but refusing to use an Oxford comma, that's just gone too far. I was born in a condition that resulted in me having no teeth. I'm nearing the closing end of a process to get a full dental implants and I currently wear dentures. I have a lot of confidence issues that stem from my lack of teeth. I've never kissed a girl and honestly, a big part of me is scared to and doesn't want to because I'm afraid no one would want to kiss a guy with dentures. I've also dealt with major depression and social anxiety issues which my lack of teeth definitely contributed to. My parents know I'm not very confident in my appearance and from what I gather they feel guilty. I've had a couple of girlfriends when I was in high school and went out fairly often. But nowadays, I prefer to be by myself and focus on my school, and my mom could not be any happier with my lifestyle choice. I wish I could befriend all the sad, lonely people on here. I have the feeling you're probably all more awesome than you give yourselves credit for. My older siblings all struggle to maintain relationships. I'm not really an exception. Just much younger so it's not seen as permanent yet. I've talked to my mom about it a few times. She has her own problems with relationships, so I don't think it's so much disappointment as much as she feels bad for them. She feels like she and my dad screwed us up too bad. She wanted better for us. She keeps holding out hope, but she's more concerned with us being happy than married. I totally understand where you coming from. I'm 27 and I am a similar boat as you. I've made some decent strides this year though. I've moved out of my mom's, got a roommate, left a roommate, got an apartment. I've lost a bunch of weight and I feel good about where I stand except for the girl issue. As of late it has been especially rough as most of my friends have got new girlfriends and whatnot. Sometimes I think that I should just give up and become a monk. But I'm going to press on and I know we both will turn up okay. I also understand the community of old people. I live in Central Florida and it's a huge retirement town. I kind of wish I was in a bigger city where I would meet new people also, but then just because you change the scenery doesn't mean that you have changed. You have to have a positive attitude and work on that. People are drawn to people doing things positive. The steps will be slow but I am sure we will get there. Since I've changed up things I have seen improvements, and while I haven't made it yet I've been places that would lead there but have found dead ends. The most important thing I have found to remember is if you do find a dead end is not to sit there and wonder why, but to turn back around and get back on track. My mom once jokingly said that maybe she should have been more strict with my sister and I so that we would have rebelled and gotten more social skills. Hahaha. I'm 21 and only leave the house once every other week. And I have absolutely no friends, not including my mom and sister. I'm more disappointed in myself than my mom is. I don't even think she's disappointed in me. I think she is just worried that I get so frustrated when the topic of me being lonely comes up. Well, I just married a guy who was assumed to be forever alone. If it makes you feel better. The first time I visited his parents' place, they kept making slightly awkward jokes about this being a first. He was 25 at the time, and only my second boyfriend as well. Don't be ashamed, don't give up hope, and smile even if you aren't completely happy. People respond better to people who smile, as depressing as that can be at times. As a 26-year-old who cannot find a job, 4 years and counting so far, I hold no illusions to how much esteem my family sees for me. I'm 18. I'm fat as crap, unattractive, and socially awkward. My parents are most certainly disappointed, even though they've never said anything. I think the very reason you haven't done this is because they do not talk to you. You are wondering what they think, because they do not talk to you. If you talked about these things, then they would also be helping you with dating and women. I'm in the same boat. I'm 24. My parents simply do not talk to me, so I am having to learn life on my own. While also have very low self-esteem and self-confidence due to having no guidance or support in life. Talk to your parents. Tell them you are having issues with self-esteem and dating, and that you need help. If they shy away, then understand that they are not going to help. Find other mentors. It's not them, it's me. They ask me how things are and I lie about feeling down about this. I'm just really ashamed of it, and even though my parents have always been there for me, I have a hard time opening up to them because I don't want them to know I feel like a loser. Maybe it's just that I don't know how they could help me. I'm semi in the same boat. I brought one girl home once, was working towards a relationship that just never happened. About a year later, we were talking about the relationships of the family with some extended family over dinner, where my mom tossed out this gem. Brother A has a girl, brother B has a girl, Andy that says he doesn't, but at least he's trying. If nothing, he'll probably end up looking on the internet. Yes, I'm the oldest of her sons. Nope. I've taught my children to be happy with themselves, so finding a relationship is not the end all be all of their existence. They dang sure won't settle, so I'm pretty sure this will delay grandchildren by a lot. 23 isn't old enough to be forever alone. That's what? 5 years after the average age a person loses their virginity? So for every 13-year-old experimenter, there's a person like you. In a sense, the negative feelings you have about your status are worse than the status itself. I spent 5 years of my 20s not having any sex whatsoever. My advice, and I'm sure it's a variation of the advice you're getting all over, is to forget finding someone and concentrate on being the best you that you can be. Work hard, fill your time with hobbies and sports, improve yourself for you, be a badass, and don't jack off too much. Number. As a parent of a socially awkward, obese and generally unpleasant failure of a human being, I have no problem in knowing that all my good genes will be forever lost to history and my bad genes forever lost to a cardboard box in my son's room. Said nobody, hopefully few people ever. My brother is only 21 and my mother keeps bringing up in conversation with me how concerned she is that he doesn't appear to be dating or participating in other activities she thinks is normal at that age. He doesn't like to drink either, and he's never been much of a party guy, generally prefers to hang out with just a couple of friends at a time. She's gotten it into her head that because she lost her virginity at 16 and I lost mine at 17, and was married by 23, that he can't possibly be normal, except, you know, he is a different person, and male, so I'm not really sure why she feels the need to compare all our experiences in the first place. Anyway, what I remind her of every time she brings this up is that he must be under an enormous amount of pressure to date, have sex, party, drink, etc. and it choosing not to do any of those things anyway, because he wants to date a woman who he actually likes, not just the one who said yes, and he doesn't want to have casual sex with a drunk chick, and both of those things should be things that she's proud of, not worried about. She should be proud of the fact that he's a sufficiently independent thinker that he hasn't completely caved to the pressure to be like everybody else. This hit home so hard, geez. It's interesting to hear this perspective from the other side. I feel exactly how he feels, the pressure and all. It's not very funny to feel like that. Thanks for sharing that. You are in the exact same boots as my brother. This has led him to much bitterness and anger. We share the Xbox and I have to constantly ask him not to break things we share when he gets mad. Poor boy. Please get your testosterone checked out. Simple blood test at your normal doc. My hubby was that way. It actually took a very long time to convince him I was interested. He had friends but he himself did not maintain any of the relationships as a normal person would. Smartest guy I ever met. Very handsome. In my opinion. He never chased tail. He had a very regular masturbatory habit as a teen, so no one thought he was asexual or even dreamed he had low testosterone. Everyone thought he would be single forever. Once I did hook him. We have been great together, yet he has no romance skills, nor does it even dawn on him that that is part of a relationship until it has gone too long between sweet gestures like cards, flowers, or just remembering I am not just one of the guys that just happens to have tea and likes to have sex with him. So it turns into another reminder argument that there are some things women need. It just doesn't come naturally to him. We found out this year, he is 27, that his testosterone levels are extremely low and probably always have been, judging by his lack of interest in actual women when younger. The doc actually said, testosterone is what makes a man act like a downright dirty dog of a human. It is what makes men compete and what makes them act like buttholes and what gives them confidence and a thirst to chase skirts. He mentioned that many of my husband's other issues, anxiety, fatigue, extra weight since childhood, inability to voice his opinions or fight for himself when wronged, etc., were all part of this. Some people only have 1 or 2 symptoms and some have way more problems because of it than he does. Honestly, if it isn't your testosterone, it could just your self-image or internal dialogue, possibly a psych issue or a brain wiring issue, but cancel out the medical possibilities before just considering yourself to be incapable of forming bonds. Also, be totally honest with a doc or they won't understand just how much this is bothering you. Explain even the things you think to be unrelated but are atypical for an alpha male type, such as your lack of want to go out and socialize like a 23-year-old man should. TLDR. Get your hormones checked at doc. Seriously. A lot of this sounds like me and now I'm worried. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.